Hello and welcome to Challenger Virtual Season 5 Round 3. Let's get straight into it here at Valencia. We're going to have a pre-qualifying of 3 laps to set up the grid for 3 minutes of proper qualifying. First round, of course, we saw in Saudi Arabia Shiloh win it for Russell British Racing. The second round, it was Priya who triumphed over team rival, well, not from the same team, rival Suicide, as it is Pappy Pops and Acer Audi Sport ultimately fighting for all here so far. Team standings is currently Acer Audi Sport with 40 points in first in that promotion spot. Russell British Racing 2 points behind with 38. Then Pappy Pops with 31. Metessa with 29 in fourth. Knuri with 22 in fifth. Then Polish National Racing Team Orlan in sixth with 19. Then it's Alpha Prime and Hurricane tied for seventh with 10 points each. Motor Evid with 4 so far, and Danube Flow with 1. Of course, this largely depends on the token spend as well, but here today we're gonna have quite a race on our hands. A lot of drivers spending tokens, a lot of upgrades going around, a lot of speed and grip upgrades, which might be interesting to see on this track. Will do how it'll affect all the drivers pre-qualifying is soon to end, and we'll get straight into the action right here today at the Valencia Street Circuit. So let's begin qualifying. Here we go. It is time for qualifying, and we're underway. While they start their first lap, let's take a look at the token spent here. We've got 3 tokens from Pappy himself, 4 tokens by Iceberg, 3 tokens from Juan for Polish National Racing Team, 3 tokens from Gwetzli, 3 tokens from Butterlord, 3 tokens from Julo, 2 tokens being spent by Amwar, 2 by Vaporeon, 1 token by Todsod, and RBR going all out, 4 tokens from Kader and 3 from Shiloh. So 2 4-token spenders here, as it is Pappy currently on provisional pole with a time of 34.23. Juan and Iceberg started at the front here, so had a slower beginning lap, but soon enough we'll have a proper flying lap results. Any case, let's take a look as the first drivers get. Of course, their flying laps done. Iceberg is already in third, and it is a 33.47. Juan doesn't manage a good one. Gwetzli goes on the front row. Shiloh 33.97. Kader, his teammate, only a 34.28, and it is Butterlord up in fifth. Todsod, amazingly, 1 token spent. He's up in third, so the Danube flow effect is in full swing once again. We don't know how they keep doing it, but they do. Let's get these laps done here for Juan and Iceberg, and then we can take a look at the car upgrades. Juan does improve to 33.57, that's third. Kader improves up to fourth, that knocks Butterlord, Shiloh, Todsod down the order. Here are the car stats in green highlighted, are the successful upgrades right before this round. In bold are double successful upgrades. You can see Danube Flow there improved to the 3rd best car, thanks to a double acceleration and a single speed upgrade. Pappy Pops only managed a grip upgrade, while Acer Audi managed an acceleration and a double grip, putting them on equal terms in terms of car performance index. Polish National Racing Team and HRT are the 2 other teams who managed a speed upgrade up to level 3, which will be crucial for them. HRT also managing a grip upgrade, same with Metessa KRT managing a single grip upgrade each, motor even managing an excel upgrade, and same with RBR. Here we go for some of the final laps. I believe the final 2 laps here. Kader is by a second on provisional pole, and that is amazing lap. But Juan now improves, goes sub 33. Butterlord as well, sub 33 for him. Todd Sod in 4th. Iceberg and Pappy are in 5th and 6th. 6th and 5th in the order that I put him. Here goes Juan, he's gone past Kader. This is a quick lap from him. Will he be able to get pole position for Polish National Racing Team, Polish NRT, whatever you want to call it, long fucking name. No, he does not, and Kader, will he start on pole position? Yes, it looks like it. Nobody able to improve. Vaporeon improves up to 7th. Great stuff for him. Amoir improves up to 11th. Priya does not improve. Enigma improves up to 18th. Fast Juicer. And last, let's take a look at these results. So here we are. Kader will start on pole position. He's spending 4 tokens. He's going all out. Then in second, it is Juan on the front row. Only 3 tokens. Polish NRT. Finally putting down some heavy. Well, I mean, they've already spent a bit. They are on 10 tokens out of 18 left, so it's sort of there. In any case, Juan starting in the front row after a successful speed upgrade. Butterlord starting from 3rd. Last time around, he only managed 5th after starting from 10th in Monaco. The Matessa really struggled, but it looks like they've got it under control despite bad upgrades. Todd Sod, 1 token. He's starting from 4th. That is an incredible stuff, especially as he's starting above Iceberg in the best car with 4 tokens, and Senor Pappy in the joint best car with 3 tokens. Both of them get the exact same lap time, and they're starting 5th and 6th. Vaporeon spending only 2 tokens in the worst car in the grid by far, starting from 7th. That is an achievement. Just crazy stuff in qualifying so far. As you can see, Guetzley starting in 8th with 3 tokens. HRT also recently got a speed upgrade to level 3. Shiloh spending 3 tokens, just 1 less than Kader, and he's 8 positions away, starting in 9th. Julo spending 3 in the KRT is starting from 10th, so that's 7 positions between him and Butterlord, despite both cars having the same car performance index score, but albeit different stats. Amoir spending 2 tokens will start from 11th, just outside of the points. Corvid, no tokens, starts 12th, best of the tokenless runners. Pretty good qualifying for him. Starts ahead of Suicide in the joint best car, also tokenless 13th. Tokenless is as well Hnandi in 14th, Stefano, Charchi T, and then Priya in 17th, Enigma, and starting from 18th, Kraft from 19th, and Fast Juicer starts from 20th. So all of these from Corvid downwards are tokenless and can really mix it up, but can any of them realistically challenge for points? And who will end up winning? Kader, pole position by half a second, is definitely the clear favourite, but Iceberg and Pappy both disappointed in this qualifying. Can they improve in the race? Will Todsop drop? Will Vaporeon drop? Butterlord, Juan? All of that will be answered as we get straight into the Spanish C-Prix. Here we go. It's time for the start. It's Kader on mediums, Juan on hards, Barlord on softs, so is Todsod and Pappy. Iceberg starts on the mediums. Let's zoom out a little bit, see a bit more. We've got Barlord and Todsod just kind of driving together here in 3rd. Not really much action on the start. Usually you have more, but Barlord now loses P4. Vaporeon, great start. He's up into 5th. It's like car performance doesn't matter in this race. Corvid fighting for tokenless points. Shiloh getting really overtaken there. We've got Kader still in the lead. Todsod, Butterlord, Vaporeon up into 4th. In fact, where has Kwang gone? He's down into 6th, 7th now. The hards, definitely the wrong choices. Todsod leads the Spanish C-Prix, Butterlord now into the lead of the race, and it looks like the most important factor was the tires you started on, to some extent, of course. Pappy Pops going past Vaporeon has dropped down the field again, and Butterlord leads. Totsod has dropped back massively, just very weird shifts up and down the field, but it's Butterlord into the lead of the race. Catter in second gets overtaken back by Totsod, who's got his boost deployed now. It was every lap you could deploy the boost during qualifying and pre-qualifying, but in the race it is recharging boost, and Totsod is straight behind Butterlord. Reminder, he's spending 1 token in this race, and look at his performance already. 3 laps in out of 33, but we've got a long way to go, and he tries to take the lead of the race. Butterlord slightly edges him out. Well, not really, no dirty move there. Catter in third. Let's take a look down the order, because Julo is up into fourth. Third now, battling Todsod, Pappy, and Iceberg. Very slow starts from the best cars on the grid. Iceberg in fifth, Pappy in sixth, Guetzli is in seventh, Vaporeon holding down to eighth. Juan has had a miserable start in ninth on the hards, and Suicide, tokenless, running up in points right now in ninth. But even worse, oh, and we're going to have a rain, and a lot of drivers have missed the pits. It's Suicide who will be pitting first. He goes for the wets, and I think so will everyone else. But like I said, Juan with a bad start, but so it was similarly a bad start for Shiloh, spending 3 tokens, and he's running outside of the points. Julo is in the lead of the race now. Catter in second, and Butterlord in third. It's all over the place in terms of who leads and who doesn't, but Todsod has dropped to sixth, and we're going to have clouds soon, and that means that these drivers have stayed out as a result of the announcement, and the top 8 might just separate themselves enormously from the rest of the field. Butterlord, Julo now struggling. His car, the KRT, only has 1 grip, so he's the worst for it on wet conditions, slightly wet conditions with dry tires. But he's still fast enough to make it past Butterlord, and slams into the wall. But so does Butter, and it's Catter currently in the lead of the race. It looks like the mediums, because they were worn less, have in fact come out of this much better during the light rain. Vaporeon up into fifth. That is because Todsod and Guetzli and Pappy have all pitted for dry tires, and Suicide will lead this pack. He is easily running in ninth at the moment, with Juan in 10th. But if Suicide keeps at the tokenless points, either Juan or Shiloh will definitely receive a bit of a shocker. Julo and Butterlord now petting off of the worn softs, looking for sort of undercut on Catter and Iceberg, who have pulled away now, lapping some cars already. Priya and Kraft struggling at the back. Iceberg takes his time getting past them. It's quite long pits here. You can see Julo was even 8 seconds behind Catter and Iceberg. The undercut might work, well, the undercut might not work as a result of this if they have bad enough outlaps. Julo is on another set of softs. Butterlord has opted for a set of mediums. Behind we have Guetzli running in fifth, quite a ways away. Pappy right on his tail. Then it is Todsod running in seventh, and Vaporeon in eighth, looking for a challenge on him. Goes round the outside, great overtake, and he's running in seventh. At the current moment, it's Suicide in ninth. It's Shiloh up in 10th, has gotten past Juan, all of them not too far from each other, and that also includes Amwar. So we gotta keep an eye on this, but Juan and Shiloh will both suffer, spending 3 tokens and only fighting for 1 or 2 points. Catter now into the pits for a set of hards, and he exits not too far behind Butter, but we'll see how those hards work out, because we saw Juan start on the hards from the front row. Now he's outside of the points, so it's a very risky move that Catter has decided to go for here. Only other two drivers on the field on the hards are Charge GT and Kraft, both outside of the top 10 and not spending any tokens. Iceberg opts for a new set of mediums, and there he goes. Julo does indeed get some semblance of an undercut done, and so does Butterlord. Iceberg, in fact, comes out behind Kader, so Kader definitely gets an undercut done on him, and Guetzli is now in this sort of situation, but he is rapidly losing time to Kader and Iceberg, who fight over third here. But as Julo in the KRT alongside Butter, Julo, a former Matessa driver himself, brought them their first and I believe only to date victory in Challenger Virtual way back in the debut season. Then he went to Porsche, but his beloved team KRT relegated from UV, and he decided to drive for them in Challenger Virtual for Season 3, and now Season 4, which is named Season 5. It's a long story, but Butterlord, the new Matessa driver, the new hopeful, to take them to a new era, is right behind them. Kader, in fact, is showing amazing pace on those hards. He's pulled away from Iceberg. Guetzli struggling on the worn-out softs. It looks like worn tires are a real big issue here, despite the HRT car having free grip. It's not enough. Pappy, in a car with 4 grip behind, on fresher mediums, and he is definitely catching up to Guetzli. He's also got 3 Excel to Guetzli's 0, and I think it looks like on a track such as Valencia, acceleration looks to actually be crucial, as Guetzli and Vaporeon now head into the pits. Butter is vastly in the lead of the race now. He's ran away from Julo. Let's take a look down the order here. Butterlord on fairly worn mediums, running in the lead of the race. Julo on now quite worn softs will be looking to pit soon. This lap, next lap, maybe in 2 laps. Iceberg on quite fresh mediums, and yes, there goes Julo into the pits. Iceberg on quite fresh mediums, and then Kader behind on a slightly more worn hards, but he is keeping his own. Both of them spending 4 tokens, of course. Butterlord and the Matessa spending 3. Pappy on really worn out mediums is in front of Julo for the moment, but he will have to pit soon himself. Julo now on completely fresh softs and running in 5th. Guetzli on quite fresh mediums, running in 6th. Vaporeon on fresh softs, running in 8th now, as Juan has staged a complete comeback. However, he is on very worn mediums. He will have to pit soon, and that might drop him a few positions. Currently, he is in 7th, and 9th is Todsod. Driving in a place I'd argue is more fitting of his token spend. Juan and Pappy now both into the pits. The top 3 still haven't pitted for a second time. Juan now pits for a 3rd time, and he comes out. Well, Todsod is currently running in 8th, Shallow in 9th, and it is Juan fighting with Suicide. Juan opts for the hards again, didn't go so well the first time, but he is willing to fight Suicide now. Butterlord into the pits onto a fresh set of softs. He will come out just ahead of Julo. He pulls off an overcut on the mediums, but it really depends here because Julo is going fast, and I don't think he's willing to stop just because Butter has put on some fresh tires, and that is the case. He's through into 3rd. Kader now really detached from Iceberg, who has ran away. They're both on fairly worn tires now, and Kader will lose a lot once Julo and Butter get past him as he'll pit. Julo now with the fastest lap at 32.63. It was, if you remember, the pole lap was Kader's 32.3, I believe. I do not know the exact hundredth. But right now, Kader is nearly a pit stop behind Iceberg, and unlike Julo and Butter, who have a pit stop extra compared to Iceberg, Kader does not. He's really struggling on those hards, like I thought he would be, even though originally he was doing quite well with them. Pappy just running in 5th. Not quite where he'd want to be with the best car and free tokens being spent, but a lot of drivers spending free tokens, and sometimes it's just what you get. Quetzalcoatl, then Vaporeon still having a great, phenomenal time. Remember, he's spending only 2 tokens in the worst car, and he is solidly running in 7th. Todsod, Shiloh, and Suicide. Just about 2 seconds ahead of Juan, who's his only competitor for this final pit stop. And there he goes, his final pit stop. For this final top 10 position, Iceberg into the pits, exits on fresh hards behind the top 3 of Kader, Julo, and Butter. Julo is already caught up to Kader, but he is on quite fairly worn softs now. He's gonna have to make that overtake quick because here comes Butter and here comes Iceberg as well. It's quite an interesting 4-way fight between them. Not much happening other than that. Shiloh is now running in 7th. In fact, Vaporeon is pitted for fresh hards, and you can see another detachment there. Julo is into the pits again, and just like last time, he's overtaken even more because of his softs only strategy, so was it worth it? He's behind Pappy and Quetzalcoatl now, but looks to be overtaking Quetzalcoatl soon. Meanwhile, we have Kader, Butterlord, and Iceberg. Once Kader pets, he will have some issue because he might lose quite a lot of positions. Will he pet this lap? Yes, he does. It's Butter into the lead of the race. Iceberg in 2nd. Here comes Pappy. He's up into the podium positions. Kader goes for a set of softs. He's behind Julo. He's behind Quetzalcoatl. Pets from the lead of the race down to 6th. Now it's a 6-way fight for the race when I believe any of these drivers could take it. Let's think about the strategy between these 6 drivers. Butter is on fairly worn softs. He will have to pit soon, and in my opinion, he will probably aim to pit for the final time. Iceberg is on fairly fresh hards, and I think he'll try to take them to the end on this compound, and I think that is doable. Kader's on fresh softs. I think he'll have to pit again. Julo on fresh mediums. I'm not sure. I think he will have to pit again as well. Or Quetzalcoatl on very worn mediums. Will definitely be pitting soon already, and will probably be running in 6th as a result. Pappy on fresh softs, I think he'll have to pit again, but we'll have to see if they can take those softs 10 laps. Butter is into the pits, and Iceberg takes the lead of the race, looking most likely to win this race right now. Butter goes for hards for 10 laps, so I think all the softs runners who are running on softs right now will definitely pit again. Well, I mean, just judging by one guy's action might be a bit of an overkill, but I feel like they will have to, including Julo on the fresh mediums. Well, I think he's the least likely to do so. He overtakes Butterlord for 3rd now. Bergie, Iceberg, really just running in 1st without a problem in the world. However, can Kader quickly catch up, make that gap as small as it can be on the set of softs? He will probably have to pit again. I don't think those softs can last that long. Butter fighting Julo. Pappy is now into the equation on fresh softs as well. Julo on the most worn out tires. And it's Butter and Pappy fighting for 3rd here. Pappy goes for a move on the inside, and he's through into 3rd. Butter struggling on the straight. He's got Julo right on the back of him. Bergie still running in 1st, no problem for him, still 6-second gap, 6.5 now to Kader, and I feel like he's got this win under wraps, but who will take 2nd? Here's Pappy right behind Kader, looking to catch him as well, rocking very fast on those softs. Meanwhile, Butter and Julo struggling with each other for 4th. Of course, Kader and Pappy will both have to pit. Julo, I'm not sure. Quetzalcoatl is definitely on his final stint. He's running in 6th. Vaporeon currently in 7th, but Todsod is right behind him. Vaporeon is in fairly worn out hards. Todsod is completely fresh softs, and I think, yes, there he goes, takes 7th, and he'll probably stay in that position. Shiloh not too far behind Vaporeon himself, but he's also got fairly worn tires. He's struggling currently with Iceberg, who's trying to lap him, and that does in fact get some of Iceberg's big gap down. And Pappy is into the pits, and Katter is into the pits 6 laps before the end, onto another set of softs. Most importantly, what will that mean for Julo and Butter? Butter, in fact, looks to have lost quite a bit of time. He only comes out just ahead of Pappy and Katter, and it might be heartbreak there for Matessa, as they have the opportunity. They might drop down to even a 5th. It really depends on what's gonna be done now. Iceberg goes for the pets for a set of softs at the end. He thinks, I'm not going to risk it. I can pet and still come out ahead. Julo is into the pets as well. It's Pappy through into 2nd, then Katter, then it's Butterlord. And Gwetzley is close behind. Julo has set himself right in 6th, but maybe this might be the correct move. Iceberg definitely, with the substantial lead that he had, he exploited it, and I think he's gone for a phenomenal move, going for the softs before the end of the race to just make sure he claims victory and a second race victory in a row for Acer Audi Sport, as we have Pappy in 2nd behind. Then it is Katter, and Butter is still holding on to the back of Katter here. Will he be able to make a move as the softs wear? That is quite an interesting hypothesis. Julo is past Gwetzley now for 5th place, but he's got a lot more to lose with this pit onto the softs, especially so late in the race. 4 laps, I believe, before the end, or 5. But he is catching up quite quickly now. Butter getting detached from the pack. What looked to be a great move onto the hards has become a questionable one. It's Iceberg into the lead of the race. Into the lead. He's been leading for quite a while now. Pappy in 2nd, then Katter close behind for 3rd. And Julo is past Butter now for 4th. Butter is down into 5th position. Not much he can do now, but Gwetzley behind has got more worn tires than Butter, so he should be able to stay in 5th. Katter through on Pappy. He takes 2nd place right now. It's 5 seconds behind Bergie, and that gap hasn't really changed. Iceberg about to begin this final lap of the race, and it's been quite all over the place, but also not really too action-packed. Butter is back in front of Julo now in 4th. Julo looking to make a move back on him. Iceberg in the final lap now. Katter 5 seconds behind. Shiloh trying to slow Iceberg down, but he can't get in front of him. He's running in 8th at the moment. It's Totsod in 7th, Juan in 9th, and Vaporeon's down to 10th. Suicide in the end did not get the tokenless points. The gap is down to 3 seconds now, but it's too little too late. Iceberg wins the Spanish C-Prix. Katter comes home to 2nd. Pappy on the podium. Julo gets past Butter again, and he finishes in 4th. Butter in 5th, and it's Gwetzley in 6th. Todsod will cross the line in 7th on very worn out softs. Julo also takes the fastest lap for an extra point. There we go. Todsod finishes in 7th. It's Shiloh in 8th with 3 tokens. Not the greatest of races. Juan, even worse for him, as Vaporeon overtakes him for 9th in this giant pack of lapped and lapping cars. It's Vaporeon who finishes in 9th, and Juan only in 10th. Amuar with 2 tokens manages to get into 11th, but it's not enough for points. Suicide tokenless in 12th. Charge JT 2nd best tokenless result in 13th. Then it is Katter 13 seconds back. Look at that pack. What a pack. Drivers on completely different laps as well. Crazy stuff. Corvette finishes in 14th, Hnandi in 15th, Stefano will finish in 16th, and the final four are there for you to see. They are Fast Juicer in 17th, Priya in 18th, Kraft in 19th, and Enigma in 20th. So that was the Spanish C-Prix. Not a lot of on-track action, mostly with the pit strategy, and it was all over the place, and it looks like just the extra pit onto softs was what really decided it for some drivers. However, Iceberg also predicted that and went onto the softs as well and finished cleanly 3 seconds ahead. Kader in second, Pappy in third, Jules in fourth with the fastest lap. Then Butter in fifth, Guetzley, Todd Sod in seventh with 1 token will be ecstatic. That is the first token that Uplo have spent. They are a force to be reckoned with when they spend tokens. Shiloh, 3 tokens, 8th. Vaporeon, 2 tokens, only 9th, but is the worst car on the grid, so that is quite a good result. Juan, 10th with 3 tokens. Definitely not the best result out there. Amor, 2 tokens, not even in the points. We'll see you for round 4 at Białowieża for the Polish C-Prix home race. For the Matesa team, for the KRT team, for driver Julo and driver Stefano, who drives for Dan and Flo, of course. Also home race for Polish national racing team Orlen, most of all, as they are the national racing team. Their owner is Rito. So we'll see you for round 4. We'll see you then.